Hey, good morning everybody from Jacksonville, Florida. We are currently staying at Catherine Abbey Hanna Park just outside of Jacksonville, and if you look at the lush tropical setting behind me, it looks like something right out of the Jungle Boat cruise ride that you might get either in Disneyland or Disney World. But if you guys are familiar with camping in Florida, whether it be any kind of the municipal parks, whether it be state, county, or city, you'll know that the background behind me is pretty familiar to you, because these are some of the most lush tropical parks you could ever imagine, and they're really quite beautiful. And we have seen so much wildlife. I mean, we've seen armadillos and possums and turkey and deer, and although we didn't see one of our other neighbors said we just missed a bobcat, so there, and there's coyotes out here and things like that, but they're really close. It's all totally safe. Seen a bunch of alligators, of course, also. We'll show you some videos of those later on. But we're staying out here in the park, and one of the questions that you might ask is, where's Karen? We're actually filming this the day before Mother's Day in May. Although the video that you're going to see was actually filmed back in February, I believe. And we're going to show two different Harvest Host locations where we stayed at as we left Galveston and we went into Louisiana and then also into Mississippi. The first one was the Vermilion Living History Museum right outside of Lafayette, Louisiana, and we really had a great time there. And then the other one is going to be at the Gulf Coast Gator Ranch in Moss Point, Mississippi, where we did some adventures there. You'll see that in the video as well. But we're doing a little bit of kind of an opening here on this video because we wanted to kind of fill in a few gaps that you may or may not have, or maybe some questions about the channel. And one of them was, if you've been following us for a while, you notice that we try to put up a video a week. Now, we don't have a set day that we put them up. Some people put their videos up on Saturday or Sunday or Wednesday or whatever day it might be. But it's never really worked out for Karen and I to do that. We try to put our videos up about once a week, but we just have so many things going on, traveling and driving and just enjoying life and the things that are going on around us. Plus also internet connection sometimes plays a factor in how soon we can get videos up. But it just takes a little bit of time for us to get our videos up. So we never wanted to have a specific day that we put videos up. We wanted to get one up, at least try to get one up once a week, but not ever on a specific day. But with that being said, we've noticed that, or at least I've noticed, that we are really getting backed up on videos. I'm kind of in charge of the editing and trying to get the videos out there. And we usually run about a month to 6 weeks behind, which is kind of normal for us. We never really quite up to date on what we're doing, usually a little bit behind. But now we're actually getting about 2 months to 2.5 months behind. So we're going to speed up our putting up videos up on YouTube a little bit faster until we get caught back up. So don't be surprised if you see 2 videos a week, or maybe even 3, but probably like 2 videos a week, just so we kind of get caught up and until about that month to 6 week range where we normally should be. So this upcoming video, after we left Galveston, we stayed at 2 Harvest Host locations. We stayed at the Vermilion Living History Museum right outside of Lafayette, Louisiana. We had a great time there, and I'm going to speak a little bit more about that in just a minute. And then the other one, we stayed at the Gulf Coast Gator Ranch in Moss Point, Mississippi, where we actually stayed at a gator ranch, part of Harvest Host. And Harvest Host is just, if you're not really part of that organization, you should really consider joining. Karen and I don't receive any bonus tips or anything like that if you guys join Harvest Host, but I'm telling you, for us, it's really worked out, and we think it will for you as well. And again, for $79, and that's the base price, a little bit more if you want to stay at golf courses, I believe. But for $79 annually, you can stay at breweries, wineries, museums, really unique locations, gator ranches, wherever it might be, for a night. And then it doesn't cost you any additional money. Now, when you stay at these locations, sometimes they kind of expect you to contribute to the business a little bit. If you're at a winery, they might want you to buy a bottle of wine. At the Gulf Coast Gator Ranch, we actually took an airboat tour in the swamps, things like that. But that's stuff that we probably would have done anyway. So we look at it, the way we look at it, we're really not costing us any money. Okay, so back to the Vermilion Living History Museum. We had such a delightful time there, and it wasn't really overall just because of the history museum, because it was really neat to go there and look around, and we did have a really good lunch. But we ended up meeting 2 of the most down-to-earth, nicest people you will ever meet in your entire life. And I wanted to give you just a little bit of background on this. So as we're walking around the Living History Museum there, and I'm kind of trying to get a little bit of humor in and make a few jokes, I look over and I see 2 guys that are fishing over like a little pond or an estuary. And as you've seen from the previous video about Texas fog fishing, you know, I love to fish. Anytime opportunity I get, I'm gonna look in water and see if I see fish swimming around. If I see people fishing, I'm gonna ask them how the fishing is. So I walked over to these two guys and I met them, and their name is Terry and Terry. Their both first names are Terry. And started talking to them, and you know, they started telling me some fishing, you know, pointers, and you know, some things, things to look forward to out here in the area, which you might catch. And then I just out of the blue, we started talking about what they were doing here, if they were trying to catch fish for themselves or whatever. And it turned out that they were on a scouting mission for an organization that they both operate called Outdoor TNT Fitness. And so I asked what that was, and it turns out that these two guys started basically it's not an LLC company or anything like that. I'm not even sure if you'd even call it a company. It's basically an organization where they took youth in the area who've never been fishing, who've never been golfing, who've never played baseball or softball, never done any type of outdoor sports activity at all. They bring them out to different locations and they take them basically off the streets. Some of these youth are troubled youth. Some of them may have, you know, issues at home or wherever it might be, but they take them under their wing and they try to get them acclimated and orientated to outdoor sports and try to get them off the streets and, you know, things that might get them in trouble. And I looked at that and I thought, what a really, really neat organization, what a really, really neat thing to do. And then I was dumbfounded to find out that they do this out of their own pocket. They don't, you know, they do take, you know, money if someone donates it to them, but they get no corporate sponsors. They get no, you know, money coming from any type of an organization or anything like that. Basically, it's just if someone wants to donate something to them, they do it. If someone wants to give them a little bit of money, they'll take it. They do this out of their own pockets for the love of the community and the love of kids. So Karen and I were fortunate enough to meet these two individuals. So I spent a little bit of time with them at the fishing pond, and then the next day we invited them over to the RV and we spent about an hour inside just talking. And I feel so stupid. I should have gotten the actual conversation on video, but I did not. I didn't want to, you know, constantly turn the camera on every time we meet people. But these are some of the neatest people you'll ever find. And what they're doing for the love of the community and for children really is just outstanding. On a scale of 1 to 10, it's an absolute 10. So we're going to put up a telephone number here if you want to contact these guys to maybe donate some money. They have been on a local news station just recently. We're going to try to get the video clip from that, but they were up on a local news station, Fox Channel 15 in Lafayette. But just for the mere fact they're trying to help the community, I think it's really, really worth it to donate some money to these people, if you can do it. And we'll put the telephone number up. Karen and I definitely gave some money, and it felt really good to help pay back the community like that. Okay, so with that being said, let's go off to Louisiana and Mississippi. Thank you. So after spending nearly a week in Galveston, Texas, it was time for us to pack up and head east to Louisiana. We took the Galveston ferry, which saved us nearly 2 hours in travel time, and the ferry easily handled the 43 feet length of Matilda. Now I have to be honest with you, this was the first time I took a ferry boat ride driving our coach on, but the crew of the boat got us on super easy and I felt totally relaxed and comfortable. Well, I'm not there yet. What was even more amazing, the ferry boat ride was totally free. There was no cost whatsoever to transit the bay, And the ride was just not easy, but it was enjoyable. Thank you. After some wet weather, we arrived in Lafayette, Louisiana, and spent the first of 2 nights at the Vermilion Living History Museum as part of the Harvest Host program. The scenery was spectacular, and the southern cuisine we had at the cafe was superb. And meeting what Karen and I called later the two Terrys was the highlight of our stay. These two guys do so much for the community, and they do it all out of their own pocket. Hey, you know that you're in Louisiana when you step out of your RV and 10 yards away is like a swamp right behind us. Where are we staying at, Karen?
We are staying at Vermilionville Living History Museum. It's a Harvest Host. It's a beautiful facility. It's a little bit cold because obviously it's still winter, but they have, I can't wait because tomorrow they open up at 8.
Yes.
And we will be doing a tour of their installation, and they have a gift shop. They've got a dining room on site, a really good dining room from what I understand, and you know, you get this. I mean, this is a little different for us, but it's certainly interesting.
Now let me ask you a question, Karen. Do you think there's alligators in there?
Why don't you go swimming and find out?
Actually, no, because I was smart. I actually asked 2 different people already if there's alligators in here, and the answer is yes.
Yes.
There's a gentleman over there getting ready to practice on like a baseball or softball team, and I asked him, I said, hey, is there any alligators over here? I said, I'm from Arizona, and he goes, oh yeah, there's alligators right inside that little swamp or estuary right here. And then one of the construction workers over here that are working on a building, they said the same thing. So yeah, when I walk the dogs tomorrow, or even tonight, I'm gonna have to look under the RV, which is a good RV tip, when RVing or camping near swamp or lakes that are inhabited by alligators, and you're walking your dogs at night, snakes, make sure you're checking under your RV. And that's not really a joke, because sometimes they do go under your RV. So we got to get up, be extra careful, but there are alligators over here. All right, let's go. You know, you didn't see the lake yet, did you?
That's not a lake, that's a river.
Did you see it yet?
Yes.
Well, they haven't seen it. Let's walk over and take a look. Come on. Okay, so Terry, you're gonna tell me about a golfing thing, is that right?
Yes, yes. We're also starting a small program for kids, and the room that we're working on now is like 7 up to 10 years old.
Never been golf before, and you're gonna take them out.
And what we did, we construct some little putt golf boards.
You know, that's awesome.
Yeah,
it really is.
Yeah, so they're learning how to putt, learning how to drive.
You know, that is part of the experience of being a full-time RVer. I mean, you know, if I was at the local Holiday Inn, I'd never probably met you guys. But here I'm sitting in my RV over here, learning about Terry and Terry, getting back to you, giving back to your community. That's what it's all about.
Big function coming up on the 31st of March.
Right, and not only that, we've helped big brothers and big sisters out. We went to one of their invitations. They invited us, and we work with a bunch of kids, man. Talk about having a blast.
And you said you're helping abused kids too, is that right?
Abused kids too. And
all this stuff you've got in the back of your vehicle here is to help them out. You got, you know, it's like a batting net, and then you got fishing poles, footballs, fishing reels, and you guys are all doing this out of pocket.
Out of pocket. I mean,
you don't, no corporate donations, nothing like that.
Donations, you know.
I mean, that's amazing. How long have you guys been doing this?
Oh, we started just before the pandemic talking about this, and then the pandemic hit in January 20, And we just been adding stuff on. And at that time, the first 6 months of the pandemic, we had 8 kids out that were driving every day with golf clubs. So now we're getting ready to get back up in the springtime and start doing our golfing.
And how many? Is it still 8 kids, or do you have a lot more than that now? Or
we
kind of growing?
We're shooting for 20 this time.
20 kids.
20 kids.
You know, you're gonna make me cry here. I mean, that is. I mean, what talk about a couple of really good down to earth guys. And, you know, here we are. I'm walking around the parking lot. I'm gonna ask you a couple fishing questions. Ended up bumping into you guys.
That's right. That's right.
So listen, this is an outstanding organization that just started up. You know, you can strongly consider this. We're going to put a link up and a phone number, but if there's anything that, you know, that you just want to donate to, these are the 2 guys to do it to.
That's right.
Do you guys have like a 401c or anything set up, or is it tax free?
No, we're working on that. We're working on that.
Working on that.
And we're in partners with another lady that has a Macomb Visa community development.
Community development, yes.
And it's all helping the community and stuff, and that's how we tie it in. That's like holding on to the umbilical cord.
That's what it's all about. Hey, God bless you guys. Karen and I soon developed a close bond and friendship with the 2 Terrys, and the next day we had them over the coach. We spent nearly an hour just talking about their wonderful organization. So again, if you guys can afford it, Blue Line RV Adventures would really recommend donating to this fledgling organization that's just trying to get up on its feet, because they really are helping the community and kids. Hey, good morning, everybody. We are coming to you from Moss Point, Mississippi at the Gulf Coast Gator Ranch.
Yes, we have left Texas, loved our time both in the hill country,
Yes.
the deep freeze, and then Galveston. So we've arrived here in Mississippi after a very brief Harvest Host stay in Lafayette, Louisiana.
Yeah, we had a great time in Louisiana. We had some authentic, I had some food in Louisiana. I don't think I'd never had before. Cracklin. Some of you had cracklin out there. It's the first time I had cracklin. And what was the other thing? I'm going to mispronounce it. Boudin?
Boudin. And then shrimp etouffee.
Yes. And I actually had it first in Texas, and then I had it later on in Louisiana, but gumbo. Oh my gosh, if you've never had gumbo, that is an awesome meal. It's an awesome dish.
So good.
But before we go too far, we want to give a quick shout out to RV Texas, y'all, and Tom and Stacy. We met them in Galveston at Jamaica Beach, and they are the neatest couple, the most down-to-earth couple you can imagine. And we were actually, I would describe it as honored. We were honored to be a part of their channel. They actually did an episode with us in their Winging It with Friends the other day and put it up. And you know, we're grateful for their viewers who saw the video, and they're just awesome people.
Yeah, Tom and Stacy have been somebody that we have watched and we have subscribed to for a good number of years. They are so educational, and probably the primary reason that we ended up in Texas for a significant amount of time.
Yeah, and they're one of the people that we followed from the very beginning also, and we even contemplated full-time RVing. But yeah, Karen's right. But today we're at the one more time, I'm gonna cut that up. But today we're at the...
You imbecile! You bloated idiot! You stupid fathead! You...
It's the Gulf Coast Gator Ranch in Moss Point, Mississippi. We're going to be touring their farm as well as going on an airboat ride.
Yes.
So come join us.
Yeah, and then also, do you want to tell them what happened last night? So
Oh, we don't necessarily know.
No, well,
we think.
They told us this. Obviously, this is a gator ranch. There's gators here, but there's a swamp right behind this fence over here, only like about maybe 20 yards away. So last night I'm doing some editing on some videos. I had the window open and Karen had called in the early night, and I'm in the living room and I heard what first I thought it was a truck engine trying to turn over, but then I thought, wait a minute, that sound is not coming from the direction of the road, it's coming from the swamp. And it turned out to be, later on, it turned out to be, we believe
it was an alligator.
An alligator growl. I knew the alligator hissed, but I didn't know they growled.
They growl. It's like a purring sound, but made from a prehistoric animal.
Yeah, so I heard this growl and I had to actually go to YouTube myself, and I found a video of an alligator growling and it sounded exactly like what we heard out here last night.
But who knows?
But who knows? It was too dark, and you know, and of course when I walk the dogs, I had to have a flashlight. Make sure, you know, like I said, we're always got your 6.
I'm not going to.
Yeah, make sure that Blue Line RV Adventures, we always got your 6. Anywhere that you are at locations like this, like you're staying at a Harvest Host, or anywhere really where there's alligators, boondocking, even at the museum we were at yesterday in Louisiana, they cautioned us that there were alligators in the area, that when you're in your coach, make sure you take a light and look under your RV. If you've got a small animal, you know, a cat, a dog, a couple dogs like we have, and you're gonna walk them and you don't see any dangerous animals, just don't take for granted, oh, everything's safe. They could be under your RV. There are many stories and videos out there of people that have looked under their RVs and found all sorts of animals, some of them dangerous. So, you know, just be careful with that.
Yeah, always keep a very high-powered flashlight close by the front of your coach or the front door of your coach. It just, in your car, in your vehicle, if you're towing a trailer or a fifth wheel, it's just a good idea having several in different areas.
All right, so we're gonna go check out the ranch here, the farm here, the Alligator Ranch. So we're gonna go check out the alligator.
Whatever it's called.
We're gonna go check out the Alligator Ranch, not a farm. They're not raising them out of the ground. We're gonna go check out the Alligator Ranch, and maybe someone's actually gonna hold an alligator. All right. I'm sorry. What's your first name?
Eva.
So Eva, are you one of the owners here, the manager, or just working the desk here today? Or?
I'm one of the owners.
One of the owners. So last night, you tell us. Last night, and we're giggling at this. Last night, I'm doing some editing actually for the YouTube channel here, and at first it sounded like a truck engine trying to kick over, but then I go, that sounds like a growl. And then I looked up on YouTube because I knew the alligators like hiss, because I've seen videos of alligators going like a snake, but I didn't think they growled. And I looked on YouTube and I heard a growl. Do alligators growl?
What they call it bellowing.
Bellowing.
Okay, and yes, they do that. The males will do it, one, to tell other males to get away from his area.
Right.
And they also do it for mating season.
For mating season.
Yep.
So, do you think that the growl I heard was coming from the actual swamp, or was it one of the alligators you have here on the ranch?
It could have been both.
Could have been both. You have them that big. Wow. See, I'm actually kind of excited about that. So if you don't mind, you might tell me a little bit about your business here. So we're here as a member of Harvest Host. We've had a wonderful stay. We've got another RV out there. But just kind of tell us, how long have you guys been in operation, and what are some of the things you do here?
This place has been here for 30, 40 years, okay? The original owner opened it up, and we bought it about 16 years ago, right before Katrina.
Right.
And when he bought it, he would kill the alligators, sell the meat, hide stuff, and also have a bunch of alligators here. When we bought it, we chose not to kill them.
Right.
So any nuisance gators can come in, and they bring them here, and they live out their life here.
So what's a nuisance gator?
That's an alligator that people have fed, and now it's not afraid of people anymore.
Because they actually become they associate people with food.
Exactly.
And that's exactly why they have signs up. I've seen them on Florida where it says "Do not feed the alligators." Not so much that it's a danger to the humans, although it could be, but it's because the alligators will just get used to where they see humans, they think food's going to be there, and they'll move on over.
They can't distinguish me as food and food that I'm throwing.
Right.
So that's when, and then they come up in people's yards and stuff like this, and that's when they become nuisance alligators.
And then how many alligators do you guys have at your actual ranch here?
Between babies and big ones, anywhere between 60 and 80.
60 and 80 alligators. Now, do you mind if you walk over here by this chair? Because I saw this chair yesterday and I want you to explain it to me. Come here. So I tried to show this to Karen. So I came in here yesterday and I see that, Karen? So I came in here yesterday and I looked at that and my first thought is I thought it was like maybe a prop or something you buy at like a novelty store. But then I looked at it and I go, no, there's like cut-ins here for legs and it's rusted, and I go, this looks like an authentic electric chair. And you said that it could be that you guys found it.
We found it in the swamps of Louisiana after Hurricane Katrina. One of my partners found it.
But at the same time, we're not quite sure if it's an authentic electric chair, although it certainly looks like one. But it could also be a prop, though, from the movie.
The Green Mile.
Because
yes.
it was filmed not too far away from where you got that.
Right. It was found out of in the swamps out of Lafitte, Louisiana, and they do a lot of filming down there. And they did film some of the Green Mile there.
Right.
So we're not sure, okay, if this is a movie prop, if it's a real chair, or if it's something somebody had in their house.
Right.
We're not sure. We put the lights and the headgear on it.
Right.
Okay. But the straps were the original straps.
And you were telling me yesterday that initially you had light bulbs on here when people got in here for like a photograph. You'd flip a switch and a light bulb would come on, but some people monkeying with the lights, unfortunately, end up breaking it. But if you look at this, I mean, that's solid wood.
Yeah.
I mean, this was not, whether it's an authentic one or even a movie prop or something, this wasn't cheap to make. I mean, someone did that. They got the cutouts, the leather straps. So, anyways, that's interesting. Karen, would you like to have a seat in the electric chair?
No, I'm good. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Holy cow.
Holy cow. That
Goodness gracious. Do you have one that you like that you, like the granddaddy of
My
them all?
boat captains name them, and they can tell which one is which, okay, better than I can. But if you see, they're all laying out on the banks over there.
Oh, yeah.
This is their time because it's sunny and that they're soaking up that heat.
Now-
We have our babies and stuff over here, and there's a cement enclosure over here that has 3/4 in it.
Oh, thank you so much. This is such a neat.
Now, Karen, you said you got the hiccups. I'm trying to think. One of the things to get over hiccups is to be frightened. Is there something we can think of that might scare you?
Stop it.
Wow. Just gonna put the.
These guys look like.
Over here.
Can you tell the difference between males and females? Is it size?
Not by looking
Size?
at them, except for size.
Yeah.
Most females don't get over 9 feet, so anything over 9 feet is normally a
Like
male.
these two brothers here.
Pick up speed, whatever you do, even with ear protection, don't look up.
Okay.
Because everything will go flying.
Okay.
Okay, Evo, I'm heading out with 4. I'm going to try to come back with 1.
Wow, that's
Now, the big guy I was telling you about that comes up to the dock,
Yep.
this is going to be him over here to the front right of the boat.
Oh, wow.
We named him Chops because he's missing about 1.5 feet of his tail, been bitten off by another gator.
That's a 14-footer?
13 foot.
13-footer.
You know, so we just had probably one of the best rides that we've had in a long time.
Yeah.
We took the airboat ride at Gulf Coast Gator Ranch and here in Moss Point, Mississippi, and wow, the ecosystem, the geography, it's beautiful. The swamp is beautiful. It isn't something I want to go, you know, take a stroll in, but it's really just outstanding. Just the all of the life that teems throughout the area.
And the boat captain, he explains everything to you. In fact, we actually went by a dead beaver, and he explained that one of the alligators had killed the beaver, but the temperature had not yet risen high enough for him to eat and digest the beaver. So
I guess it has to be upwards north of 50 degrees.
50 degrees, right. And then he showed us an alligator den, and as we're walking around here, I mean, we got alligators. There's one moving around right now in the water. But anyways, no, just a fantastic ride, and we'd really highly recommend it.
Yeah, it was a good time.
Absolutely. So that's about a year old.
Yeah.
Is it okay if I get the GoPro up close to him?
Sure.
They don't need, the cat's not obviously worried.
Cat's name is Gator Baby. She's been with us 8 years now.
Yeah, she knows.
She knows not to go over that fence. She knows there's something over there to eat her.
So now it's just smaller bits of chicken, or
No, we feed these here at gizzards.
Gizzards.
We cut up small pieces of chicken gizzards for them.
oh, that's high in iron.
they don't- yeah,
it's
they-
good for them.
They don't get the strong bite to bite through bone until 4 foot. And once they get 4 foot over, like in that single pen over here, we'll start feeding them chicken legs, something small. The bigger guys and gals, we give them chicken leg quarters.
Yeah, we heard.
If they're very well behaved, we'll throw them an occasional ex or in-law.
And how,
1 year old.
what's the average lifespan of an alligator?
70 to 90 in the wild. Some in captivity, but known to live a little bit over 100.
Wow. Hey Karen, I hope you enjoyed this video on the Vermilionville Living History Museum just outside of Lafayette, Louisiana, and also our visit to the Gulf Coast Gator Ranch in Moss Point, Mississippi. Both of these are Harvest Host locations, and again, for us, Harvest Host just knocks it out of the ballpark. What an outstanding organization. Anyways, if you like this video or some of our previous videos, don't forget to hit subscribe on YouTube. Also, don't forget to follow us on Facebook and Instagram as well for real-time updates. And soon, TripAdvisor and Yelp as well for those restaurant food critiques. And remember, at Blue Line RV Adventures, we got your 6.